guys. This is Shakura. She's from Cameroon.
Well, I actually grew up in Denver.
But she was born in Cameroon. The motherland, okay? Birthplace of humanity. Mom Africa, you know what I'm talking about. You been member since 1960, right? Yeah. Where's Luca? Because he needs to see this. Is he still here? He might still be here. Well, I'm gonna go get you a drink, but when I come back, can you guys take a picture of us and send it to Luca and make sure you hashtag motherland, all right? Okay.
He's kidding, right?
That clip completely exemplifies the problem of colorism and Grownish. Hey y'all, my name is Deuce and welcome to Producer Post, where we talk about Black media and occasionally poetry. This is technically an after show episode because after the season, we're talking about it. And I want to talk about the colorism on Grownish because there's a lot that can be said. And then like when they try to address it, it wasn't handled well. Let's start with the cast. The cast, almost all of them passed the paper bag test. The only one that doesn't is Aaron. Aaron does not pass the test, but on you can find another video on this about colorism. Like, Aaron is a guy. Colorism affects men differently than it affects women in the Black community. So you're gonna see a lot more darker because again, Aaron is not dark skinned, okay? But you're gonna see more darker skinned Black men than you're gonna see darker skinned women in leading roles, okay? So that's that on that. The other thing, I think it's interesting how Kenya Barris said he wants to represent a whole lot of people with Grownish, with a lot of different backgrounds. But you have Nomi. Well, Nomi's Jewish, which that's an ethno-religious group. I'm not really gonna get into that, but just know that actually most Jews look like her in regards to pigmentation. Yes, there are Black Jews, but they are not the majority, okay? Then we have South Asians. I was gonna say Dicey, but I'm gonna pronounce that wrong. So Vivek is South Asian, and they actually told us specifically he's Gujarati. And I think it's very interesting how they really, there's a lot, and I do mean a lot of South Asians that are darker than him, okay? That are just darker in general. And this was an opportunity to put them give them a spotlight, but no. Y'all casted Jordan Buhat with his lighter skinned self. Then you have Anna. Anna can pass as white, okay? I made several jokes about it in my review series in which she's a white Latina. Because isn't she? She doesn't give mestiza to me. She doesn't. But I could be wrong. But yeah, you could do so much with the amount of range and shades and even races when it comes to just darker Latinos. We come in a lot of shades and races. I mean, we have Middle Eastern, we of course have Black, we have indigenous or mestizo, like and then there's a lot of mixed combinations between those. So I just think it's interesting how we didn't get what I thought we were gonna get. And then they had multiple opportunities to make their cast a lot more, variant with their shading. But then they introduced Junior, Paige, Javi, Heidi, and Rodney as love interests. All of these love interests passed the paperback test. In fact, too many of them are just white. Rodney, I think, is mixed. The actor is mixed. But Javi and Heidi and Paige, those are white people. Those are white people. I don't understand. Y'all had an opportunity to add darker skinned people through love interests, which I don't like when I'll talk about that later, but you failed. Zoey. And I don't have a problem per se that she's light skinned, but I feel like if she was a darker skinned character, she wouldn't have been treated the same way. She's a homewrecker, okay? I don't think that the audience would have given her so much grace because they're like, oh my God, true love. With Aaron and Zoey, and then earlier on, Zoey definitely had sex with Luca, But it's not necessarily home-wrecking because she didn't know that Luca and Jillian were a thing. Nevertheless, I feel like she's giving a lot more grace because she's light-skinned or because she's not dark-skinned. Those are not the same arguments, mind you. And then there's also like a lot of times where I feel like she has like Mary Sue syndrome, in which, yeah, she has like problems, but like every time she has a little setback, she's almost instantly rebounds. She got cut off from her parents, and that was like brushed off to the side. Okay, that was pretty big for someone that's as rich as her, or at least, you know, comes from wealth like her. But that wasn't really that big, and that sort of bothers me. Then there's also numerous times in which she's been passive aggressive with her friends, and I don't think, you know, if she was darker skinned, they probably would have perceived not as passive aggressive, but just straight up aggressive. You know, she's made several shady comments, you know, and I think she's giving grace because of her light skinnedness. And then also, Zoey is the center of beauty. Yara Shahidi is a beautiful person. I'm not gonna act like she's not beautiful. But again, I feel very hard to believe that if Yara was dark-skinned, the writers would have thrown so many men lusting for her. I don't believe it. I'm sorry. I'm going to talk about the dating episode. Season 1, episode 10, It's Hard to Heal for a Pimp. It focuses on the racial desirability politics that Black women face, and it centers on the twins, Jazz and Sky. I think it's a good episode, but I think it could have been better if darker skinned women were leading the conversation. Again, the twins are not light skinned in my opinion. Y'all can just say I'm wrong. But I think they're light brown, you know? I don't think they're necessarily light skinned. I don't think they meet that threshold, but they're definitely on the lighter end of brown skin. And so they definitely face colorism a whole lot differently than Zoey does, because Zoey's just a light bright. And she has that mixed people hair that the people covet. I tried to be clever with it, but I couldn't. So yeah, I think they can definitely talk about it, because of course they're Black women, but we could have a little more depth to this conversation if we added the element of colorism, because it'd be inauthentic for them to really talk about colorism when they're not even that dark. But again, in order for them to do this, they'd have to have a dark-skinned person in the cast from the beginning. So that couldn't have happened by episode 10. And I hope they wouldn't introduce a character just for that episode to talk about it, Jordan Woods. But yeah, I think it could have been way more in depth if they had a dark-skinned woman. And then also, this is the episode where we talk about Aaron's type, which is light-skinned women. And we later find out it's because of his mom. Now I want to talk about the dark-skinned girls that they did add to the show, which was Rochelle and Jillian. Jillian we're going to talk about first because she was introduced first. She's portrayed by Ryan Destiny. Rochelle was added in later, which was Reagan Harris. And I feel bad for both of the girls because they did not deserve the treatment that their characters got. So yeah, Jillian was barely in the show. They were both introduced in season 3, and Jillian is a transfer student from Spelman. I know, a downgrade, and she's a film student. Not much we know. And then she says later on she wants to do a documentary on the twins about their Olympic trials, and then she follows Sky to Tokyo, and then that's it. Like, you were barely here. Like, she even, the writers / her explicitly say.
Learned anything from you during my transfer year here? It's that I was never really here at all.
Okay, well, first of all, I said dark-skinned girls. They're darker skin. I wouldn't say either of them are actually dark skin. Dark brown, maybe, medium brown, but I don't think either of them are really dark skin. But that's neither here or there. As you saw, like, she explicitly said, like, yeah, I was barely here. Like, we definitely wanted you, like, it. So yeah, the girls were definitely thrown in there to appease people talking about colorism. We wanted them to actually be characters, not just you guys shallowly throwing characters there. for representation. That's not representation, okay? So yeah, Jillian didn't do anything, and honestly, both Jillian and Rochelle did the same thing. They were there to cause relationship drama with Zoey. Because, like I said earlier, Jillian was the surprise girlfriend to Luca in the eyes of Zoey, because Zoey didn't know. And, you know, that caused a little drama or whatever. And then there's Rochelle. Zoey didn't know that Aaron was dating Rochelle until he meets up with her at the very last moment of part 2, season 3, like the beginning of part 2, season 3. And she goes, mind you, we last left off with another Aaron and Zoey kiss, because they did it twice, okay, and technically they did it thrice because it's still a cliffhanger. But anyway, so she thought she could go back to where she left off, and no, she couldn't, because Aaron was like, I'm tired of the games. No, he's not, because he goes back to Zoey at the end, but at the expense of who? Rochelle. Because not only did Aaron cheat on Rochelle with Zoey, but when he goes back and be like, we're gonna be together again, there was no scene of him showing it that he's breaking up. You can say that, oh, it's implied, but is it? Remember, Aaron not only cheated with Zoey beforehand, but before this, Aaron had a whole secret relationship with Anna behind Zoey's back. So I don't believe that he actually broke up with Rochelle before doing this, okay? So now we have another problem, because when Rochelle finds out, I'm scared that they're going to feed into that stereotype, and she's gonna be all aggressive and angry, you know, rightfully so, but you know, she's gonna be aggressive and angry, and Zoey's the light-skinned damsel in distress. Oh my God, I only made your man, I only stole your man. And then let's talk about the fact that I think it's interesting that when Zoey got a text from Rochelle about, oh, we gotta talk in person about Aaron, they immediately thought that they was gonna fight. This is again with the tables turning thing, because I feel like if Rochelle was lighter skinned, they probably wouldn't have done that. They probably would have not written that at all. So I just think them girls were treated bad. They deserved much better storytelling, much better character development, and not to be secrets. They don't deserve to be secrets or secrets kept from them. Like, I know people have secrets, but like when that's your whole character or that's the whole plot point, yeah, you deserve better than that. Dark-skinned girls around the world deserve better than that. In conclusion, Grownish has a colorism problem, and they were doomed from the start. And so there really wasn't much. I mean, they were doomed from the start with their cast. They were doomed from the start with Zoey being their lead. They couldn't do anything about that. When they had opportunities to change it and handle it, it wasn't really handled well. And honestly, I've given up at this point. Again, I feel bad for darker skinned girls that wanted representation. Hopefully there'll be further young adult media that will better represent them, but Grownish just can't do that. I really do like Grownish, but this is just something I just had to drag it for. I just had to, because it's unacceptable. Anyway, thank y'all so much for watching. If y'all have any comments, please, let's have a dialogue in the comments below. And I will see y'all in the next video.